welcome to Vision on TV. We're here interviewing people on their reactions to a film about a mine that's going to be built potentially in Bristol Bay, but we're actually speaking to two Indigenous people who've come from Alaska all the way to London to tell us about it. Would you like to introduce yourselves and just a little bit about why you've come here?
Yeah, my name's Everett Thompson. I'm a Naknek native from Naknek, and a commercial fisherman and subsistence user. In Bristol Bay, Alaska, we rely heavily on the natural environment, and this mine threatens our existence with that and connection with that land, and we're fighting this mine so our future generations can have what we have always had and what we've been brought up with and what has sustained the people in Bristol Bay.
Hi, I'm George Wilson. I'm from Levelock, Alaska, and I'm Alutiiq. I am a commercial fisherman like my friend Everett here, and we're over here to try and persuade Anglo-American to not put probably the second largest mine up at where our salmon are born and raised for the first year. We're subsistence users out there, and we rely heavily on a clean environment. We want to keep it that way.
What is a subsistence? What's a subsistence user?
Well, subsist, if you look in the dictionary, just means to live and to survive. And so for us, subsistence is the fisheries, because it's subsistence fisheries is the only reason why Bristol Bay people have survived in the area for so long. Everywhere throughout the earth, people habitate in locations where there's abundance of food, and that mainstay for us has been the salmon.
We're such a remote villages out there. It's very difficult to get in and out. There's no road systems. All travel in the summer is by air or on water. So everyone there gets food from the different seasons out there, whether it be summer with the salmon or fall with the moose or caribou, berries before the winter comes in the spring with the birds. That's our grocery store, and it's only healthy if it's a clean environment.
So do you think Indigenous people have any more right to have kind of your grocery store in a wild area than anyone else who lives in a town or city?
Well, one could say they have every right to have that, and they can move to the city and get that. But we believe we are sustainable in our area with what we have, and I don't know if you could say the same about city, if in and around the city is a sustainable way of life.
And today you had a representative, you had two representatives from Anglo-American watching the film, and I was hearing language like, perhaps your community's being emotional, irrational, you should be waiting for this process to go through. What's your reaction to that kind of language?
I would say that they say the wait for them to submit the application for the mine. Once it gets to that stage, it's almost too late for individuals like us to weigh in and try to make change or stop it, because it's already in a motion where within the state of Alaska, every large mining applicant that applied for permits got approved and went on to construction, and we don't want to wait for that, and we shouldn't have to wait until that.
In my opinion, it's the permanent procedure. The process is ultimately designed to create a permit. So if they get the chance to go through that process, they will most definitely find a way to continue of what they're really trying to do, and that's mine that area.
Certainly, there's an author in America, I'm not sure if you're aware, Derek Jensen. He talks about precisely that process occurring. And what I was wondering when I was watching today was that representative talked about the process being very civil. And I noticed that the elder that you had with you was very polite and introduced this gentleman from that company. Are you being too polite? How far will you go to stop this?
Well, we're going to go on every avenue that we can. We are from Alaska, and we're good at making snowballs, and we're going to throw every one possible that we can at this company. We're not naive. We're not fools to big corporations. We've already stopped oil and gas development offshore in the area, Thankfully, that was with a lot of output from the local people telling our Obama administration saying, you know, you can't do this. This is too valuable of fisheries. This is too valuable of a sustainable way of life. Too valuable to the people, and it ended up the government of the United States saying, well, Bristol Bay is a national treasure. Deserves its protection. So you know things like that can be won, and we're going to continue on this battle to beat this mine as well.
I just wanted to ask, one thing that you said was that you weren't necessarily anti-mining. You think maybe you should take a stronger stance against that and just say your use of the environment is sustainable and mining isn't, and you're against it full stop. Have you discussed that in your community?
Well, I don't want to be hypocritical on statements that I make. Obviously, I could probably throw away my cell phone and throw away every other common thing, but can you? I'm not sure if a lot of people are willing to throw away their brand new cell phone that they talk to all their friends, all the new functions got on it.
And that's come from mining. Is that your point? That a lot of the things we use are using minerals and metals that have come from mining?
Well, yeah, unless we come to grips on what we're really doing as a human race and how far we've come with our technology in the last 100 years, or even 50 years, and even 10 years. In the last 10 years, we've gotten cameras like this that we wouldn't have even thought would be possible. So, I mean, we're just probably going way too fast for our own good. But I think I would be able to do it, but I'm not sure about the rest of the world, and I'm, you know, what do you think about that?
I would think, or might add to it, is that like Americans, we need to understand and become a little more aware in our recycling and quit being such a large consumer of things that we really don't need, you know, and get back to the basics. You know, what do you need in your life and function from day to day, and not being having to throw everything into the garbage that eventually goes to landfill, but actually recycle a lot of components within electronics, about anything.
So has your community had a discussion about that hypocrisy? Presumably some of these products you're talking about you use in your own community, yet at the same time you're trying to oppose a mine. Has that discussion happened in a group setting?
Well, let's just say it's hard. I mean, yes, do I want to change the world? I'd love to change the world. Mm-hmm. Is that going to happen overnight? No. Is it going to happen just by us? No. Have we talked in a setting to change the world? Well, maybe between friends. Do we try to keep it at a minimum? Yes. Or do we try to make our houses more efficient? Yes. Are we trying different sources of energy? Yes. At the same time, it's kind of hard to. We are dictated by industry, is what it all comes down to. We're dictated by industry, and until we get away from that, it's kind of almost keep with the Joneses, and sorry to say, and everybody needs a flat screen TV. You know, it's just pathetic as it is, but it's the truth. And I guess what I'm saying is, I don't know. I guess you could say what you want.
Well, actually, I mean, I come from New Zealand, Aotearoa. We have Indigenous people there, and I've certainly heard a lot of views that, and I'm wondering, I'm interested in your opinion. Some people think that Indigenous people are somehow there as a role model, are always inherently more sustainable than the rest of us. And others would say, get with the program, it's time to progress, this is development, you know, sorry about the salmon, but it's time to move on. Is there truth in either of those positions?
I wouldn't say anyone out there can say that be sorry about the salmon, you know, we can do something else. Salmon is part of what makes us out there, and it's part of our culture and ingrained in all of us that are out there so deeply that, you know, we couldn't imagine life without it.
Our grandfathers fished in sailboat days, and they've caught more fish than we do with our power boats. They're diesel driven, fossil fuel driven. You think if we got rid of the industry, that you know, engines and stuff, that we could still do it like our forefathers did? You bet your ass we could. But I mean, we have to keep up with Yeah, you know, it's just I don't, it's a very tough question really to go at. But can we do it? Of course we could do it. And we don't leave that much of a footprint on the land as much as other places do, and that much carbon footprint. We drive a minimum amount. If we drive, which is with more than one person in the car, there's, you know, I see too commonly when I go out to the city, because we are from a very small village, that you go to like to Seattle, for instance, and all these guys are going back and forth in their cars, one in a car, and there's just a trillion of these cars around, and there's cars everywhere.
Kind of like the salmon, except not as nice.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, can they find alternative ways of transportation? I'm sure they could. Could they start carpooling a little bit? I'm sure they could. Although they choose not to, and they're going a longer distances for work, and I'm not sure if you could consider that nearly as sustainably as the way we live our life out there. So I'm not trying to poke at anybody or anything like that, but it's the truth.
So, two things. What would you like to say to the rest of us? What would you like from us? And what's a one sentence or two sentence thing you want to say to Anglo-American? Let's start with Anglo-American. What do you want to say to them?
First, I'd like them to just back away and leave Bristol Bay to the residents out there. You know, if we wanted mining, we'd come and ask them that, but we don't. We want to protect our fisheries, and not just because Everett and I are commercial fishermen, but because we both have families. We both want to have them to have the same opportunities that we've grown up had. And for being Alaskan natives that inhabited the area for over 10,000 years, you know, we want to continue that. But like Everett has said before, the natives that live there are there for a reason, and it was because of the resources that are there that brought us there, and we want to keep them there.
And what would you, do you want to add to that, Everett?
Yeah, if I could say one thing to the Anglo-American is that you're not wanted, the people don't want you there, and we're going to fight every step of the way to keep you out. And whatever that takes, we're going to go to that avenue to make sure that you don't destroy our ecosystems, that you don't pollute our waters, degrade our water quality, have any net loss to our fisheries, to chase out the caribou herds, the second largest calving ground in the state. We don't want you there. We're going to fight to keep you out, and that's what I'm going to consider Anglo-American. We're constantly assembling our troops, and we're gonna win.
And if we want to be one of your troops, what can we do?
Go to our website, saveourbristolbay.com would be one of the...
Yeah, ourbristolbay.com would be a good start.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us. You've been on Vision on TV. Isn't it fantastic to hear from some people from Alaska? Do join us for the next episode.